Leftovers.
There he is, bobbing his head, dancing.
I love the intro, man.
Me too.
And I was eating an ice chip because one came out of the bottle. How are you?
Yeah. I'm great, man. How are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, done with the workday. Ready to talk about Primer from 2004, which I gotta say, I'm honestly shocked I didn't know about this movie before last week because it was a lot of fun. It was a really cool movie. Yeah, great recommendation.
It is a great film that is weird as hell.
Yep.
And I dug every moment of it.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, it definitely had some callback feels to a couple of other films, but it stayed original enough where it wasn't like a direct ripoff from something else I've seen. So I was like, it was fucking sweet.
That's cool,
yeah,
man.
Yeah.
I'm glad you liked it. So I guess that's your review, that you liked it.
I did. You know, I put, no idea how I hadn't heard about this. I like the plot devices of the ear bleeds and the inability to write as time goes on. Like, it did some clever stuff that was kind of just reaching out of the imagination because it's all like a temporal shift and no one really can explain that, least of all through the theatrics they provided, which was extremely low budget and also extremely effective. Like, it was a cool idea. So I just, all the devices they used, all the little twists and turns I thought were really unique and a lot of fun. I think my favorite part of this movie, for those of you that have watched it or are following along, is the fact that through the first half an hour of the film, not only are you engaged, but you literally have no idea what they're doing. Yeah. Like, they're just working on a garage project, and it feels
they're
like
just trying to start a startup, and
it feels really relatable, but you have no clue on what it is. Yeah. Exactly.
Just
right.
Something to make money. That's all they care about.
Yeah. You know? So you have a trivia quip up about a $7,000 budget for the whole film, most of which was spent on film stock. Makes perfect sense. Yeah. But they really killed it.
Yeah. And the guy who plays Aaron, Shane Carruth, he wrote it, he directed it, he did everything basically. Soundtrack, the whole deal was his bit. And from what I've read, he was a mathematician who was working as an engineer when he made this script, when he shot this film. Took him about 2 years in post-production to make it. And then it went on to win the Grand Jury Prize in the 2004 Sundance Film Festival, which is a big deal. And yeah, man.
I also read he chose to eventually throw up his hands and star in it himself, which doesn't sound like, sounds like he maybe wanted to the whole time, but Wikipedia or someplace said it was because he was tired of trying to cast for it with actors that were adding too much drama. He just wanted more dialogue, and like that's it.
He seems like a very cerebral kind of guy.
Yeah. I was like, but actors act, so
yeah. It sounds like he had a vision. Dude. He definitely had a vision. He made one other film called Upstream Color, and that movie, I love it, but it does not explain itself, just like the way Primer does not really explain itself.
Yeah,
you either jump on that train or you are falling right off those tracks, man. I thought you would enjoy kind of the science aspect of it too. They do kind of explain time travel in a different and unique way, which I thought was kind of neat.
Yep.
Even here, I'll bring this up. It's on the Wikipedia. And
I almost sent this to you, the graphic on how it works in the film.
Yes.
Yeah.
So here's the Wikipedia.
Almost like, did you see this? Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that it also has a timeline too. So the original person, undisturbed on the timeline.
So if you, real quick, if you're not watching on YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter, we have a graphic up that is explaining, it's like an infographic explaining how time travel works in Primer. So go ahead.
So at 11:45, you activate the device. The device basically looks like a glorified coffin, right? You get in at noon, and at which point the device starts and the double exits. So already someone else is in there. A variant if you're in the Marvel universe. Another you goes in. The original prepares for entry into the box, checking the stock prices, just goes about their day, about 6 hours. The original enters the box around 6 p.m. and then the original waits out 6 hours. So basically, you go into this box for 6 hours at a time, and
Yep.
that gives you your time loop. Basically, the way they explain it is, as you're traveling in time, it's like a circular thing, and
Right.
there's points. There's an A point and a B point, and just whatever point you go into the box, you need to come out the other end, the other point. So if
Yeah,
you're
and
in the future,
sort
yeah.
of the like the why behind the what and how
Mm-hmm.
is they kind of don't know what it is they're doing, and as they're putting it together, they basically just start day trading stock to try and beat the system, and that's sort of the why. They keep coming out to gain more money.
Because all they care about is making money. Really, I mean,
Right.
the fact that they built a time travel machine, even that, like, that's not as exciting to them as just we're going to make a ton of money,
Right.
right?
Yep.
And so eventually, at some point, there are two of you running around, but this machine has to be running and someone has to be in the box, essentially. It's a lot more technical than that. When you
Right.
watch the film, it's kind of crazy. They have funny lines about that too. Like, I think the line everybody talks about is, one point one of the characters says, "Hey, are you hungry?" And the other one says, "You haven't eaten since later today." So,
Right. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
But
it had a $7,000 shoestring budget.
correct. So
I
that would
presume we've
be.
got a wide swath of reviews on this one. And how much did it make? Because this wasn't a box office release, was it?
It was this minor box office release.
Okay.
It wasn't huge. So for its time, it made just over $840,000, which
It's a
in today's,
significant return on investment.
yeah, for $7,000 to make 841,000, yeah,
Yep.
everyone would take that deal, you know.
Yeah.
Um, as far as let's see what people think about it. So we've got our Rotten Tomato score. The critics do give it a fresh rating at 73%. Audience score is a little bit higher at 79%.
Mm-hmm.
The general critic consensus is it is dense, obtuse, but stimulating. Primer is a film for viewers ready for a cerebral challenge.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
I would agree.
Yeah, that's
So
pretty
how did you,
accurate.
as you're looking up the reviews, how did you come to this movie? Like, where did you stumble across this movie?
I love stuff like this. Just really heady,
Mm-hmm.
makes you think, kind of films. Another time travel film that I like that's interesting like this is, of course, Donnie Darko. Maybe at some point I'll make you watch that film.
I've seen it.
Okay. That's a little bit different time travel, but also pretty different. I just like these kinds of films, these off the beaten path kind of different films.
Mm-hmm.
There's another one I like that deals with time travel that's very odd. It's a little bit newer film called The Endless.
Mm-hmm.
And that too is a fantastic, weird ass movie. But yeah, I'm sure I will make you see these
Yeah,
at
yeah.
some
No,
point.
I mean, I was
Yeah.
just like, I wonder how he found this. If he just like
Yeah.
Blockbuster Video grabbed it and went, I don't know, that sounds good, or if it was
No,
something that
I
popped
mean,
up on the internet or what.
this came out when I was really into filmmaking,
Mm-hmm.
so it was right in my wheelhouse. This is, right in line. Like if you were a fan of Boondock Saints and
Yep.
Fight Club and that kind of stuff, Primer would have been in that orbit somewhere.
Yeah, gotcha.
So, plus I really like screenwriting, and this is one of the most unique scripts out there.
It
So,
is. Yeah.
yeah. And then, 5-star review, Pitch Perfect hard science time travel film from Del P. A lot of people love this film. Corey C. Still an all-time favorite time travel film. It's good for a couple times to watch, and how it catches the magic I have not felt in a long time in a movie. Yeah, that's pretty true, man. This thing is very unique, very bonkers. There are some people who, I don't want to say they don't get it, but as this anonymous says, unbelievably boring. Do yourself a favor and give it a pass.
Yeah. Eh.
I can see it. If you want the boom boom bang bang, shoot 'em ups, or you need wacky jokes,
Yeah.
this is not your movie.
And it wasn't super visually stimulating movie, but
Mm-mm.
at the same time, like I appreciate the very natural dialogue between two best friends that are also now working on some skunkworks project in homie's garage, trying to pull off some startup product, and just the natural banter between how that would actually unfold was pretty spot on. Like,
Yeah.
So I really appreciated
I
that.
feel like we've
So,
had conversations like that.
yeah, you and I have had conversations like that.
Yeah.
No, do it this way, and then we got to do that, and then this will happen. Why? I don't know why. It just works.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
that kind of stuff. Yeah.
The director, if you're going, oh man, I'd love to see more of this guy. He has had some legal issues, to say it delicately.
Yeah.
And so chances are you will not be seeing much more of him.
Yep.
So that's about all I would really want to say about that.
It would appear not. Yeah.
Yes.
It would appear that we'll not be seeing him.
But he does have two pretty great films, aside from that, Primer and Upstream Color.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So should we take our break and then come back and we'll talk about what we would do?
Let's pay some bills. Yeah.
All right, we're back.
Movie and streaming magic.
Indeed.
We're back on Movie Leftovers. We're talking about Primer from 2004. I feel like I went first last time, so I guess take it away. What are you going to do with this film franchise?
It's such an obscure film.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people know about it. So I would just hard reboot it. Just do another one. I think for general audiences, I would dumb down the science a little bit and explain it a little bit more. I would also explain what's going on a little bit more, like the whole party scene and the guy with the gun.
Very much. Yeah, that felt like there was some critical elements maybe left on the cutting room floor that should have been added to the movie for some more depth around that scene. But I'm glad you would explain it much like Tenet, which makes perfect sense.
Right. Actually, if you look on YouTube, somebody has pieced together that whole phone call that's the voiceover throughout it.
Yeah.
If you listen to all those parts together, it explains that shooting scene.
Okay.
So basically, what it is somebody found out about the time travel machine.
Yeah.
And they wanted to come and take it for themselves. And so at the party, one of the guy's wives got injured. And so they were preventing it. That's basically what it was. And it took so many tries that it started physically affecting them. That's why they couldn't write.
Got it.
So,
got it.
But see, like it takes so much to explain that, you gotta.
Yeah. I was kind of like, well, I just thought they were trying to truly just prevent a tragedy that they knew was coming. Didn't know that it had anything to do with some hit squad trying to take their shit. And, it took a while to put that together, like in reflection. So yeah, right. Maybe I'll check that out.
And I think too, they left it a little vague.
Yeah.
Just so that you could think, well, who's after them? Who wouldn't be after them?
Right. Exactly right. Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of where I think it went.
So your version's a reboot. We're going to do a lot more explaining.
Yes, we will do a lot more explaining. We'll do a lot more kind of, figuring out what we're going to do with it. I don't know if I'd set it up for sequels. I don't think it needs to be. I would try to keep it low budget. Did. Okay, you want sequels?
Yeah.
You want them to have a DeLorean and no, I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I can't wait to hear yours.
Doc Brown, flaming tire tracks. It's all in there. No, go ahead.
As far as because the core is Aaron and Abe, right? That's really your only two. So for Aaron, the main one, I would cast Freddie Highmore. Freddie Highmore plays in The Good Doctor. He was also in the Hotel Bates show. Mm-hmm. That guy, he's really good, smart kid. Seems like. So I think he would be good for that. For
I think
Abe,
so too.
Yeah, for Abe, his counterbalance, I would pick Noah Sorrento. He was in Black Adam. Yeah. Yep. So
that's a great cast.
Yeah. I think those two together, they could seem like friends. I think Noah's taller than Freddie by quite a bit. Mm-hmm. So it also gives that whole like protective aspect. Like I'm trying to protect you from yourself. Right. So yeah, I think that fits.
That's nice. So you're just going to basically keep the story block the same. We're just going to dive a little deeper into the nuance.
Explain it more. Simplify it.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, simplify it. You know, that's what I would do. Um, I would do a bit too, I think, to kind of explain what's going on. I would have them put the family dog in the box, and all of a sudden they have two dogs.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Kind of get that like Star Trek moment where he's like, you know, whatever happened to Admiral so and so's dog, and he's like, I'll tell you when it reappears.
yeah, kind of, you know,
Kind of have a moment where you're trying out on not your best friend.
right, to kind of explain what's going on. You know, yeah, stuff like that,
I
to
appreciate that.
simplify it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So what, like, the one thing that I thought was cool is I kind of wanted to know where they were at, and the city or the town or the wherever they were at never became a character in the film itself. Like,
right.
I think the beauty of what they did with this is I was interested well after the credits were done rolling on where they were at when this took place. It wasn't central to the storyline, so I kind of thought like that's a clever piece of writing where the surroundings don't matter near as much as the subject matter, and the subject matter itself keeps you kind of interested through the character development from the top of the film to the bottom. And so well done on writing that ultimately, because it was kind of cool. That could have literally taken place anywhere. I mean, and they made use of what was it, like a U-Haul storage unit place and stuff. Like, pretty clever as far as the way they executed that.
Yeah, they it was really well done. I just looked it up. The principal photography was done out and around Dallas. So,
Good old Dallas.
mm-hmm.
Nice, dude. I like
Yeah,
it. I like
I'm
it.
curious to hear what you would do with it.
Yeah. So buckle up, I guess, a little bit. I
I can't wait.
I like the plot devices, like I said earlier, about the ear bleeding and the inability to write.
Mm-hmm.
I would expand on that in the sequel a little bit different. So I would make a sequel to this.
Okay.
The sequel is going to be centered around Abe. We're going to follow his painstaking attempts to sabotage his past self while grappling with the slow realization that there are multiple alternate and temporally modified Aarons out in existence. He just
Okay.
knows this. Each version of himself or Aaron that he encounters, he kind of stalks and then studies their behaviors, particularly their handwriting, as an indicator of looped travel. So he's going to kind of keep an eye on how they're acting and reacting out in the wild. And at first, he's cautious and attempts to remain undetected. But as his wake time lengthens, as he loops, he fatigues further and further, and also begins to realize that Aaron continues to stay a step ahead.
Okay.
So Abe concludes that Aaron has pushed the timeline much further than Abe imagined, or Abe begins to grapple with the possibility that he himself is losing grip with reality. Like maybe I'm just losing my fucking mind is kind of where Act 1 ends. Abe eventually decides to convince his alter self through a bunch of coded messages, similar to the earpiece trope that Aaron was using to kind of communicate the story somehow through the time loops, which is never explained.
Right.
Anyway, he tries to convince his past alter self through coded messages to build a box and in secret, and then to construct that second box with the intent to double the loop and point the loop toward the future instead of the past. So Abe falls asleep in his usual hotel bed with the intent of resting for 2 hours before confronting his past self in person for the first time.
Okay.
Because he's responding to the messages. But he wakes up after just 1 hour and eventually tries to leave his hotel room, which he realizes he's locked in his own hotel room door. He breaks a window to eventually get out and realizes that he's in Aaron's warehouse-sized box the whole time. So he opens, because at the end of this first film, Aaron, you can see him directing traffic through like a bunch of, I think it's like French language or something. He's like telling people how to build a warehouse-sized version of this looping box.
Mm-hmm.
So he eventually gets out of his box, and once he opens it, he sees it's guarded by a 12-foot tall robot. And from the robot's perspective, we see that he starts scanning a very terrified Abe. And then the results of the scan say DNA verified, original specimen, protect. And so he lowers his weapon. It snaps back to Abe's perspective as he sees the robot lower his weapon, scans around a massive warehouse filled with various temporally damaged versions of himself in various states of stasis or controlled realities.
Yeah.
And then it fades out from there. So we realized like basically most of this has been scripted. Aaron's been entirely ahead the whole time, and we know he's in the future, but we don't know how far.
Mm-hmm.
So my cast, I'm going to recast the original Abe. I thought David Sullivan was like pretty cool as like the dude trying to figure himself and this project out the whole time while being a good arc to his friend. Aaron, however, will be cast by Josh Duhamel and
Okay.
James Franco and Mark Hamill and James D'Arcy and Jack Davenport and Eric Bana.
Oh, wow.
So we're actually going to see that all of these alternate realities in backwards we'll put together are just different scripts that Aaron has been writing for Abe the whole time he's been in his own suspended like reality loop.
Oh, wow.
So only when he gets out, he's going to figure how fucking far he's been transported into the future. And one of those will be the real Aaron. We're just not going to know until the end of the sequel and then hopefully open it up for a third one. But in kind, I would also keep this as an extremely shoestring indie style budget to kind of keep things in lockstep with where they were. I think just the natural shooting process and we'll be able to open up some CG opportunities like the robot and stuff. Mm-hmm. But we don't need most of that. What we need is, in my sequel anyways, Abe kind of deconstructing his own mental state and what he's doing throughout trying to protect the way we left off in the first film. You know, himself sabotaging the box creation in the first place. Meanwhile, if we ever make a third one, we'll see what Aaron was doing the whole time, which was controlling the narrative at every point because he's been at this for a hell of a lot longer. So we're kind of switching the way they painted Abe to being the guy that did this first as to actually Aaron did it and has kind of been playing Abe for God knows how long. So
oh, geez.
That's why we're going to have these variants. I'm actually going to play more into the temporal versions in a static reality than multiple simultaneous realities. So I thought that'd be a fun twist on the same kind of story arc that we watched in the first one, and then open it up for a third one where we'll actually have the conflict resolution, but who knows? I just thought second one might be fun, and having a shitload of Aarons just cast by different actors throughout different stages, we can kind of put together that, oh, I see.
Yeah,
this isn't what we thought it was at all. So yeah. So I would sequel this thing because I thought it was clever enough to keep around. If I actually got real money to do any of this, I would probably reboot it too, just to make sure it was a little more commercially successful. Yeah, where you could open up those theaters, but yeah. Awesome. Yeah, so that's my take.
Well, good, man. I like it. I like it a lot. Nice. I think it was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad you liked the film, man, because this one was out of left field.
It was fun, and good, super good recommendation. There's a couple of smaller movies like that, but I'm not as plugged into indie films and stuff like this. I don't really know whatever's playing at Sundance until I hear it's awarded something years after the fact, right? So
right.
Yeah, or a Kevin Smith is Born kind of thing.
Right.
So yeah, super fun.
Well, cool, man.
Nice.
So what do you want to do next time?
Well, I have an idea, but
okay.
I don't know which way I want to take it, so I'll flip a coin here. Because yep. Okay. So we are going to do every Star Wars fan's favorite director did a movie called Brick.
Oh, I love that movie.
And I think we should check out Brick and maybe see if we would rewrite that, because that is one of the most fun films ever. I was obviously joking about any Star Wars fans. They fucking hate that guy.
Yeah.
But, it's all good. Brick and some of the newer whodunits. I think he is also responsible for Knives Out. Ryan Johnson is, of course, who I'm talking about. And I think Brick is a good one. Side B of that coin would have been the first Matrix, because I think that'd be a fun rewrite for both of us. But yeah, let's check out Brick, man. What do you think? Is it available?
Sounds good to me. I'm thinking at some point soon we should do the original Super Mario Brothers movie, because the new one's coming out
with Leguizamo.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
The hard part about that one is it is not for streaming anywhere.
Yeah, I was going to ask. That one's probably going to be harder to dig up, but we'll see. I wonder if YouTube would just snatch it up and charge you $7 to watch it or something.
That's what I mean. From what I can tell, like, it is nowhere.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. if any of you
We'll have to look
watching
around.
or
We'll have
following
to-
along has a DVD you want to send us, we'll give you an inbox to send it to.
There you
Just
go.
kidding.
There you go. All right,
Cool, man. All right.
Well, thanks
so
everybody for listening.
Yeah, I'm going to be on a weird schedule next week, but we'll find a way to get some content out at some point. So yeah, this was hella fun. Good recommendation, man. And can't wait to do it again.
Me too. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye.